Trust News Center. This is the News Hour.
On News Hour tonight, Borno flood-prone community seeks government's immediate intervention to avert devastation. Survivors of Kaduna shooting by state-owned security outfit call for thorough investigation. Ram sellers in Edo State groan over low patronage ahead of Salah celebrations. And on the foreign scene, Sierra Leone voters await presidential election results after tense election. Hello and welcome to Trust News Hour. I am Abdurrahman Omar. Thanks for joining. And residents of Moromi community in Borno State have sent a Save Our Souls message to the state and federal government to intervene in the area of flood control to spare them the devastation that rocked the community following the 2022 floods. The appeal, according to the community, became imperative to avert a repeat of last year as the rainy season gradually settles in. The previous years of rainfall in some parts of the country came with floods which affected many communities, especially in Borno State. Beatrice Kurisi has more on this.
The 2022 floods, although gone, have left many apprehensive of the future after leaving houses and properties, including farmlands, submerged under water. The disaster rendered some residents homeless and forced others to relocate. Moromti community had experienced these havocs for long, especially the 2022 floods that affected over 300 houses and made life difficult for them. They are afraid that the worst could happen if the government does not construct waterways and drainages in the area. Babagana Shetima recalled the challenges he faced during the floods in his home.
In kaga mutane daga sama anguwana na haka duka ruwa ya cika.
The flood last year was worst compared to what we experienced 3 years ago. It was even my neighbors that woke me up in the middle of the night. Me and my family couldn't sleep for 3 days. We were also helping other neighbors to pack out their things. Everywhere was filled with water. My important documents were also soaked inside water.
Last year, we experienced a serious flooding that rendered a lot of households homeless. So, and by all indication and signal, we are going to experience the same problem this year. So, if care is not taken,
some houses have been damaged. Some got injured. The house fall on them. And then even we recorded like 2 deaths at that time when the flood comes, like 3 years back. Because the water, which is in 1,000 housing, then overflowed to Moromti community. And then as the water flowed here, there is no access way that the water can run. That's why it enters people's house and then break down all the houses.
The community says it has made several attempts to get the state government to intervene without success.
We went to the urban and regional planning board. Then we, together with the community leaders as well as the Blamas, we went and they tendered our problem to them. Then they said that they can forward it to the government, to Borno State Governor, maybe he can intervene. But up to now, nothing has been done.
Moromti community hopes that the needed intervention will come in at the appropriate time before the heavy rains that can cause flooding set in. Beatrice Kuruti, Trust TV News, Maiduguri.
Survivors of alleged shooting by the state-owned security outfit known as Kaduna State Vigilance Service, KADVES, at Sabangiro community are appealing to the state government to carry out a thorough investigation on the matter to avoid a recurrence of the incident. The survivors, who include 12 minors, youth and women, are still battling with injuries sustained days after the incident. The incident occurred when Kaduna State Urban Planning Development Agency, KASUBDA, accompanied by KADVES, went to the community to demolish a structure. Trustee Bisbello Musa visited the community and sent in this report.
Sabangero is an agrarian community on the outskirts of the Kaduna Millennium City in Chukun local government area. It is one of the oldest farming settlements where the state government has carved land for mass housing as part of the Millennium City project. However, Some days ago, operatives of the Kaduna State Vigilance Service (KADVIS), while escorting Kasubda to Sabangiro for demolition of buildings, allegedly opened fire on people, mostly youths and minors. I was doing my work as a vulcanizer when suddenly we saw 4 vehicles conveying Kasubda and KADVIS officials into our community. After demolishing a building, they suddenly started shooting everywhere, and I was shot in the process.
I was hawking and we saw people running. I joined them and started running for safety, and I was shot on the forehead. They were trying to develop a building, but people resisted, and there was chaos. They started shooting. As I stepped into a house for safety, something hit me on the leg, and blood started coming out, and I fell down.
Usman Muhammad is the owner of the demolished building that led to the shooting in the area. He speaks on the matter.
So after that, what happened was I was in my house. I was called that this is what is happening. So I came and I met some of the community leader, and we immediately went to Kasubda. So we even arrived to their office before them. They came and they met us. So we started explaining that the actions you carried out at demolition of my structure in the Sabongero has led to the 12 little children that were shot. So he started denying that no, that they didn't shoot anybody. So after they showed him some of the pictures and the videos, so he was shocked and he kept quiet. So all of a sudden from there, we now move further to the hospital to go and see those victims.
While explaining how the community and the police saved the survivors' lives, the community members said there is no justification for shooting innocent citizens in an attempt to demolish a building. They are calling on the Kaduna State government to ensure culprits are brought to book after the investigation on the matter is concluded. We are appealing to the state government after the investigation to ensure culprits are punished.
His Excellency promised Senator Obasani that he's going to investigate this matter to the latter. And we are appealing to him that please, that this issue of Sabongero shouldn't be just kept under the carpet. The government should investigate thoroughly to ensure that those that committed this act should bring to the book so that it will serve as a deterrent to others.
Earlier, the Kaduna State Governor Obasani, in a statement issued by his Chief Press Secretary Mohammed Lawal, ordered a full investigation into the matter and called on all parties to remain calm. Meanwhile, the Kaduna State Vigilance Service declined comment, saying the state government is investigating the matter. Bella Musa, Trust TV News, Kaduna.
In the meantime, owners of building on BUK Road marked for demolition by Kano State Urban Planning and Development Authority (NUBDA) have accused the government of double standard. NUBDA had on Friday marked the building from Dangagundi Junction to WTC Junction by FCE for demolition, describing them as illegal structure. One of the owners of the building, Ismail Bello, told the newsmen in Kano that the government is unfair to them by marking their property for demolition as due process were followed in acquiring the lands. He said most of them bought the lands from people allotted the lands by government, such as Led Bashir Tupa, Wada Aliyugaya, Abdul Aziz Ganduje, and Mui Magajiramin Gadu, among others. He said plot number 25 opposite Kano Foundation initially belonged to Mui Magaji, but he sold it to them. Asking why Aliko Petrol Filling Station and others were not marked, Bello also said Senator Rabiu Kwankwaso has plots of lands here with structures on them. Same goes for Abdullahi Ganduje, but wondered why they were not marked for demolition. The aggrieved building owner said going by the same criteria for demolition, Gidan Murtala Housing Government Ministries and court has to go, as it was built on the old city walls and the police motor traffic department (MTD) that was approved during the second tenure of Rabiu Kwankwaso. About 264 million people are living with depression, according to 2018 data by a research organization, Our World Data. More than 1 million cases of those diagnosed with depression are linked to substance abuse. Ibrahim Ismail speaks to a medical expert about the effect of drug abuse on mental health.
The National Drug Law Enforcement Agency (NDLEA) says over 14 million Nigerians are using illicit substances. Neuropharmacologists say substance abuse impacts negatively on the human brain. By implication, a lot of Nigerians using illicit substances may be mentally unstable.
So we must ensure that the youth are protected. We are not allowed to initiate the use of some of these substances. And then the users already that have been co-opted into it, we should ensure that they are treated. The commandant told us here today, narcotics, that even those who have started using these drugs, they can be treated. So I think we need to also put a lot of emphasis on research in this area, our universities and institutes, how to treat some of these substances. And I'm happy that I heard a presentation by a traditional medical practitioner. Probably they have something they can give also.
Besides damaging the human brain, substance abuse triggers complications in pregnant women and newborns, which health experts say could affect children's learning ability.
After the delivery, the baby will may now suffer withdrawal symptoms. And this withdrawal symptoms is because the baby is already used to all the drugs inside the mother's womb. So immediately after delivery, that exposure is not there again. So this baby will now develop withdrawal symptoms, seizures, many things that may even make the baby to die again immediately after the delivery. And if that baby didn't still die, the baby may get, that child may grow up and enroll in school and be having serious learning difficulties.
I realize that the prevalence rate at younger age is rising. And if I can quote the commandant of narcotics, Mr. Okechukwu, he said that in the next 30 years, if we did not address this system, we will not have youth. So it means it's better to catch these young children at a very younger age, tell them the effect of drug abuse and its impact on their body system so that they can take the message to their friends.
Women and young Nigerians are at risk of imbibing the habit of substance abuse due to peer pressure.
I don't like taking drugs. So if the drugs was prescribed by the doctor, I'll take. But if not, I'll not even go near the drugs because it's very dangerous. Even paracetamol.
Drug abuse may lead to lots of memory loss, while some leads to brain damage and all of that. So you think that taking in drugs or something like that will help to cure this problem, but you are not realizing that it's creating another problem.
To reduce the burden of mental health disorder, experts believe society must win the fight against drug. Ibrahim Ismail, Trust TV News, Gombe.
Troops of 22 Armored Brigade of the Nigerian Army on Operation Park Strike 2 have arrested 2 suspected notorious drug peddlers in Kwara State. The duo of Yusuf Yisa and Muhammad Anjuma were arrested during a routine check along Ladika Kufo Road in Patigi local government area of the state with large quantity of illegal substance suspected to be cannabis sativa and other assorted hard drugs. While handing them over to the Kwara State Command of the National Drug Law Enforcement Agency NDLEA, the officer commanding 22 Provost Companies, Sobi Cantonment, Ilorin Major Onarwaju Okiomi, disclosed that they were arrested based on an actionable intelligence. Chief Superintendent of Narcotic Lawal Tajuddin, who received the suspect on behalf of the State Commandant of the NDLEA, promised to continue with the investigation in order to round off other members of the syndicate. The suspect owned up to the crime and disclosed that they were lured into it.
This morning, the suspect will be handed over to the National Drug Law Enforcement Agency, being the leading agency in fighting against narcotic and illicit drugs. As we can see, the National Drug Law Enforcement Agency, they are on ground. We are going to hand them over for further investigation and possible prosecution.
It's always a very long chain. So we have to extend our investigation to know the real people behind these illicit drug trading in and within our environment.
I advise people who never put hand for this type of business should remove hand because it's not easy. Like me now, I have a children to university now. Because of now, the school will condemn everything about them will condemn. Even their life self is remain between them and God. You use my own to learn lesson.
Meanwhile, police operatives in Katsina have raided some notorious terrorist camps in Bazari and Jibia local government areas of Katsina State and successfully arrested bandits and neutralized several others. The operation was carried out by the Anti-Kidnapping Unit, State Intelligence Bureau, with the support of the Civilian Joint Task Force, GTF, and hunters. Abdullahi Ahmadi reports that the police disclosed this at a regular press briefing at the command's headquarters in Katsina. His report.
Some of the notorious terrorist camps cleared include that of Garinyara, Garellabo, and Mariki, all in Bazare local government area of Katsina State. Similarly, the camp of a notorious armed bandit kingpin, Audu Lankai, who specialized in terrorizing communities in Jibia local government, was also raided and cleared. During the operation, Abubakar Idris, a notorious bandit kingpin, was arrested, while 5 others were neutralized. 38 cows, 40 sheep, and 65 goats were said to have been recovered from the bandits' camps. In the same vein, the command says it has arrested the duo of Saidu Sule and Sani Beti of Nandume and Gio local government areas of Katsina and Kaduna states. The suspected armed bandits were arrested when they attacked the residence of one Muazu of Arawa village of Dandima local government in an attempt to kidnap him.
Upon receipt of the report, our operatives led by the DPO at Dandima division promptly responded where they engaged the terrorists in the first gun duel and succeeded in foiling the attempt and rescued the victim unhurt. In the course of investigation, the suspect confessed to the commission of the offense as investigation is ongoing.
The police operatives also dislodged an armed notorious terrorist gang that blocked Kankara Sheme Road in broad daylight with the intent of abducting passengers.
It happens that on the 3rd of June at about 21:30 hours, a distress call was received at the Kankara Divisional Headquarters that bandits armed with AK-47 rifles in their numbers blocked Kankara Sheme Road, where they kidnapped 4 persons, one Isa Sani Abdullahi, Suleiman Lawal, Hamza Musa, and Ibrahim Musa. Our effort is still ongoing with a view to rescuing the kidnapped victims and to arrest the perpetrators.
Although security agents are making concerted efforts to end insecurity, Katsina residents are calling for synergy between security operatives to the objectives. Abdullahi Ismail, Trust Television News, Katsina.
3 miners were shot dead on Friday at a site around Tanjul in Jol community of Riom local government area, Plateau State. National Publicity Secretary of Birum Youth Movement, Wang Tengwang, who confirmed the incident on Saturday, added that other miners and farmers have fled the area. According to Tengwang, the incident, which occurred at about 11 a.m., left 2 other persons injured. The Publicity Secretary, who described the attack as one of too many, called on the government and security agencies to intensify efforts towards the safety of lives and property in rural communities. He said despite the deployment of mobile police officers in the area, killings have continued unabated. More than 200 people were recently killed in the villages of Mangu, Barikiladi, and Riom local government areas of the state. Meanwhile, Taraba State Governor Abu Kefas has signed Executive Order Number 10, suspending all mining activities in the state. The action, according to the governor, became necessary given the danger it poses to the ecosystem. The governor said such dangers also lead to the exploitation of vulnerable communities and increased crime rate, which contribute to social unrest while negatively affecting the revenue generation of the state. Describing illegal mining as a cancer that had eaten deep into the fabric of the state, the governor stressed that the unregulated extraction of minerals have led to deforestation, soil erosions, water pollution, and loss of biodiversity. He empowered law enforcement agencies to go after anyone found violating the order. According to him, the state's rivers have become contaminated, affecting the health of its people and jeopardizing agricultural activities. The inability of the Independent National Electoral Commission (INEC) to produce the bimodal voters accreditation system (VIVAS) and voters register to the petitioner in the ongoing Kano governorship election petition tribunal. The All Progressives Congress (APC) has stalled the continuation of witness hearing. At the resumed hearing on Saturday, counsel to the petitioner APC Offiong San told the court that they could not proceed with the hearing without the voter register and VIVAS machine. Recall that on June 6th, the tribunal granted leave to APC to access and inspect the VIVAS machines used by INEC during the March 18, 2023 election in the state. Responding counsel to INEC E.A. Oshayomi said the petitioner has to write to INEC headquarters in Abuja to access the voters register and the VIVAS machine. Counsel to the second respondent, Adeboyega Awumolo San, said they are willing to cooperate with the petitioner. The three-man panel led by Oluyemi Akintan Osibede ordered INEC to produce the documents to the petitioner before adjourning till 4th of July for further hearing. The National Judicial Council (NJC) has again asked the Nigerian Bar Association to nominate lawyers to fill existence vacancies in the Supreme Court. However, observers say it is unlikely that lawyers will make it onto the Supreme Court bench as demonstrated by how things played out in 2017. In this report, Noel Samson gets the reactions of some legal practitioners on implication of appointing practicing lawyers as Supreme Court judges.
Appointment into the bench of the Supreme Court is mainly done by the President with recommendation from the National Judicial Council (NJC). With the call for appointment of young lawyers into the Supreme Court bench by the NBA, many, especially judges, are opposed to the move as they see it as a threat into their career progression. However, these legal practitioners held a contrary view.
The first thing you do to be qualified to be at the Supreme Court, you must be a lawyer. And once you are a lawyer and you are practicing law, it shows that you are entitled to also aspire to be a member of the bench. The way he has been practicing is the way he is going to continue the practice. And it will not serve as anything. The experience you need in practice is very important at the bench, because the bar and the bench are siamese twins.
You have a situation where people like Justice Tessim Elias, Justice Nnamani was appointed from the bar to the Supreme Court. I believe there's a Latin maxim that said expresso unius est exclusio ulterius, meaning the expression of one thing is the exclusion of the other. When something has been legally defined by law, the ordinary meaning gives way. The Constitution is the ground. The Constitution of the Federal Republic of Nigeria, 1999, is the lifeblood of every democratic society.
They believe appointing Supreme Court judges directly from the bar, including lawyers in the academics, broadens the diversity of thought and experience that are much needed by the court in delivering good judgment.
Yes, that will widen our jurisprudence. In the past, we have professors. Nikitobi was a professor when he came to the bench. He was a professor, a very senior professor from the University of Maiduguri. We have had people from the bar come to the bench. Elias, a former Chief Justice of Nigeria, was from the bar. A very seasoned lawyer at that time.
Yes, sometimes age can kick in, can affect the effectiveness of members of the bench. Looking at the number of cases they have to sit through and be able to give their judgments is very voluminous. So you need young bloods in the bench.
However, legal practitioners are hopeful that what happened when such call was made the last time in 2017 will not repeat itself this time around. Noel Samson, Trust TV News, Abuja.
As Muslims around the world prepare for the celebration of the 2023 Festival of Sacrifice, often referred to as Eid al-Adha, prices of animals suitable for the occasion have doubled. Nafisa Bello, who visited livestock markets in Benin City, the state capital, has the rest of the details.
At the livestock markets, the usual buzzing activities of buying and selling ahead of the Salah celebration was missing, as there were rams on display, but no buyers in sight. Lamenting low patronage, the traders attributed the hike in the prices of the animals to the high cost of transportation from the northern parts of the country, bad roads, and the recent subsidy removal, which jacked up fuel price. They said, with the current situation, their only prayer is to be able to sell the animals before the D-Day.
Price don't go up this year, but market loading. Because price don't go up because of this transportation, because of this oil matter thing there be. You know, when you carry and come before, not be like now because of transportation. Now it make the ram can't go up, and the market now there be now.
This time around now, you know people know they come markets like that because of the resume of the time.
Speaking on the economic situation in the country, which has continued to bite harder on the citizenry, the Imam of Abi Barak's Mosque, Uselu, Benin City, Zakaria Tafida, advised the Muslim Ummah to do the needful, as it is not a mandatory act to slaughter an animal if one cannot afford to. He also advised the livestock sellers to be considerate with prices.
I want to call the Muslim Ummah that they should look, is not our hand is not equal, and let us go back to Sunnah of the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam, that any business that you are doing, you must put a leniency and put a sympathy, human sympathy in your own business, so that Allah will bless. What I am calling the Muslim Ummah, that those that they are selling the animals for the sacrification, that they should do the do's and get pity of people that they don't get, because it's not everybody that has money that will do so. And secondly, anything that we are seeing, these sacrificial animals that we are seeing, is not compulsory on those that they don't get. If you get, it's compulsory on you. If you not get, it's not compulsory on you, because it's sunnah al-mu'akkada.
It is expected that the prices will get better to enable the Muslim community celebrate the joyous occasion of Eid al-Kabir, coming up in less than 5 days. Nafisa Bello, Trust TV News, Benin.
Ahead of the 2023 Eid al-Kabir, ram markets in Adamawa are filled to capacity, but with little or no patronage from the buyers, unlike the previous years. Ram sellers are attributing the poor patronage to lack of money, while buyers are lamenting the soaring prices of the animals. Salis Lawn report.
Zulhajj is the last month in the Islamic calendar, with the first 10 days of the month considered the most sacred. As part of keying into the sacredness of the days, Muslims have been admonished to offer prayers, read the Quran, remember Allah, make supplications, and give charity to earn great rewards in the first 10 days of the Hajj.
Who has the means, walam yudahi, and he did not perform sacrifice, فَلَا يَقْرَبَنَّ مُسَلَّانَا, he should not come to our Eid ground. He should not come to the Eid ground, is what Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam says. Based on this, some scholars are saying it's not is compulsory for someone that has the means to perform sacrifice, while according to other scholars, it's not compulsory, but it's permissible.
Reciting the Quran, reading just a single letter from the book of Allah, and fasting on the day of Arafat to faithful who are not able to offer Hajj attracts the blessings, rewards, and forgiveness of Allah.
We should try as much as we can to see that we follow the teachings of Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam as well as the teachings of his companions strictly, not to adhere with something that is contrary to the teaching.
The 9th day of the month is Arafat Day, and the 10th is Salah, where Muslims slaughter rams, cows, camels, or goats, depending on one's ability. This is Jimetaram Market, popularly called Bypass. The market is usually filled with buyers, but now the reverse is the case.
Din sayan nema wayansu ba kowa yake da shi ba, sannan kuma a halin yanzu da muke ciki ragunan kansu ma suna daraja.
This year is different compared to previous ones. We have rams in abundance but no patronage. However, there are reasons justifying that.
Raguna nan kamar riga ne inda kowa da irin yanda zai iya saya ya sa a wuyansa, wanda sai karami wanda sai babba.
Rams are like wares. People buy what appeals to them. They are of different sizes, hence we have those of 40,000 naira, 50,000, 70,000 and up to 100,000 naira. There are also those of 200,000 naira, 300 and 500,000 naira. By this time last year, rams were scarce because of patronage, but this year we are dealing with low patronage.
You have any other animals like chicken and any other, you are not allowed to perform sacrifice with it in Dhul Hajj, but you are only permitted to perform sacrifice with one of these 4 types, either male or female. But apart from that, you are not allowed to do that. And you are to make sure that they are healthy, they are good before performing sacrifice with the animals.
Eid al-Adha ritual commemorates the devotion of Prophet Ibrahim to Allah in his willingness to sacrifice his son Ismail for the sake of Allah before God intervened and sent a ram to be sacrificed in Ismail's place. Silas Lewan, Trust TV News, Yola.
You are watching News Hour on Trust TV. Coming off after the break, we take a look at how dilapidated infrastructure hinders learning. These and more stories to come after the break. Do stay with us.
That's great. You could see that.
Welcome back, and in case if you are just joining us, this is the News Hour on Trust TV. Now, a recap of our top stories. We mentioned earlier that Borno flood front community seeks government's immediate intervention to avert devastation. And survivors of Kaduna shooting by state-owned security outfit call for thorough investigation. Now moving on to other stories. 14 students from different medical schools in Nigeria who have converged in Medical School Calabar have drowned in the Calabar Channel, with 3 believed to have died. However, divers from Nigerian Navy have been able to rescue 11. The incident happened on Saturday afternoon. An official of Nigerian Medical Association Cross River State Chapter, who also asked not to be mentioned, confirmed the incident, which happened on Saturday afternoon. He said 3 of the students may have died. 2 of the students who may have died are from Ahmadu Bello University's area and University of Oyo. He explained in an interview the 2023 Nigerian Medical Association Health Week and the medical school in Calabar is hosting this year's Health Week. An eyewitness said high wave is said to have tossed that boat as soon as they left the Marina jetty. A source from the Nigerian Navy ship Victory, who pleaded not to be named, also confirmed. Gunmen have abducted 3 persons and killed a chief in the Owu community of Esin local government area of Kwara State. It was gathered that the gunmen attacked a filling station in the Sabaja area of the town around 9 p.m. on Friday and abducted the manager and a security guard at the station, as well as a cleric of the Christ Apostolic Church, CAC. The attack was said to be marked by indiscriminate gunshots as residents scampered for safety. A chief of Sabaja, identified as Chief Rapel Adewoyi, was reported killed by a stray bullet in his room. The chairman of the Transition Implementation Committee, TIC, in Esin local government area, Tunde Padipe, on Saturday confirmed the killing of the chief. Padipe stated that the council, in conjunction with the police and other security forces, had mobilized security to go after the gunmen and rescue the 3 people abducted. The spokesperson for the Kwara State Police Command, SP Okasami Ajayi, confirmed the incident. A family physician, Dr. Winful Oriake, has warned against kissing newborn babies on the lips as infections can be transmitted through it. Oriake spoke in Asaba as Delta State gears off for the year's Maternal and Newborns Child Health Week, holding between 23rd and 29 June. He said newborns need to be protected from diseases and infections from birth, which can be transmitted through direct lip kissing.
Adults, our grandmothers, should not carry babies, newly born baby, and be kissing the baby. You can transmit infection to that baby. That baby is just being born, has not even received vaccinations most times. That is why we even ensure that the baby received that TB vaccine at birth, because it's exposed. Visitors will come to greet the baby, to greet the mother and all that, carry the baby and kiss the baby. So that baby must be vaccinated against the common diseases, vaccine-preventable diseases. So that's why we ensure and educate people to ensure that their babies are properly protected from birth and do not die within that period, which they are very exposed to those diseases.
Agite community in Ovia Northeast local government area of Edo State, where residents have called on the state government to, as a matter of urgency, come to their rescue and help facilitate the renovation of the only secondary school in the community. According to the community, the call became imperative as present condition of the school poses a threat to the education of their children and words. Nabisa Bello completes the report.
These are some of the classrooms in Ogede Secondary School, located along Upper Ekenwa Road in Ovia Northeast local government area of Edo State. The appalling state of the school prompted the community leader, His Royal Highness Usadebame Ahaoa, to appeal to the state government for urgent intervention. He said he regretted that the community has been neglected over the years, leaving the people to their fate.
It is true that we have secondary school, we have primary school, we have health center, and this community is recognized by the state government. But as it is, we do not have any government representative, we do not enjoy anything from the government, we do not have any government support. The secondary school we have in this community, if you go there, you will see how it looks like. We have written to the government, we have called on the government, but we have not been able to get a reply from them.
Other residents who spoke on the issue expressed displeasure over the poor condition of the learning environment and other public infrastructures, adding that most of the existing classrooms were put in place with the efforts of the community leader, residents and parents to make sure their children still have a school to attend.
A lot of things are going on there where the children are not happy. No chairs, the roof is not there, and the little class they have is so congested. Even the one they have not removed, if you enter inside, it's totally wrong. It's totally, it's not good for students to learn. So what would we need that? This is what the government should come to our aid, and these are what they said the children should enjoy because of our future. So we want the government to please come and visit the school.
If you see the school now, we have been spending our money to patch the zinc and every other thing there. So we call up the government, they will not respond.
We need the government to take proper care of the school
But me looking at the school is not a good environment for children to learn. We don't cry, we don't tire. The children now they waka, they don't they sit down. No toilets, no bedroom. So they not even they care for them. They don't try best. They government come help us repair the school. Make teachers, better teachers still they make them put chair. This boy away not they so make them put some.
The question begging for answer is, with the pathetic state of Ogede Secondary School and many others, will the recent promise made by the state government to bequeath a legacy of quality education and better workforce that is required to survive the fourth industrial revolution be fulfilled? Nafisa Bello, Trust TV News, Benin.
The Joint Admissions and Matriculation Board (JAM) has set the cutoff mark for the 2022-2023 admissions into universities across the country at 140 and above. This was disclosed on Saturday by the registrar of the board, Prof. Ishaq Oloyede, during a presentation at the 2023 policy meetings on admissions to tertiary institutions and wards held in Abuja. Oloyede also noted that the board had approved a score of 100 as the cutoff mark for polytechnics and colleges of education. However, the JAM registrar said universities are at liberty to decide individual cutoff marks, but no university will be allowed to admit any candidate who scores below the 140 benchmarks. Also at the policy meeting, the federal government charged JAM to maintain the sanctity of each examination at all times. The Permanent Secretary, Ministry of Education, David Adejo, said a compromised examination system will impact negatively on the nation's workforce. President Bola Tinubu has applauded an investment of $520 million in specialized agro-processing zones by the African Development Bank, AFDB, in the country. Tinubu, in a statement on Saturday by his special advisor on special duties, communications and strategy, Dele Alake, praised AFDB's President Adeomi Adesina for further opening up the economy for investments that provide job opportunities and reduction in poverty. Speaking with Adesina after the two-day summit on a new global financing pact in Paris, Tinubu said the agro-industrial project strengthens an area of the country's competitive advantage as he listed other areas of priority that require foreign direct investment, FDI, in his remarks. Additionally, commended the president's foresight, boldness, and determination for macroeconomic policy direction by removing the fuel subsidy.
Opportunity for me to see His Excellency President Tinubu to personally commend him for the thoughts and the ideas that he has brought to the summit right here in Paris. Of course, I'm here in Paris, and so we discussed so many things. But first and foremost, I think I commended him for his boldness, his vision, his determination with regard to having macroeconomic stability and fiscal stability for Nigeria. And as you know, I spoke at the inauguration lecture for His Excellency the President. I commended his boldness in removing the very inefficient fuel subsidies that Nigeria has, and no bird can fly if his wings are tied at his back, and therefore that will really help Nigeria significantly. And I think the whole issue of correcting the exchange rate distortions that Nigeria has will also free up the access to forex and also make Nigeria's currency much more competitive in terms of export competitiveness for the things that we produce. All those are right signals that the president is sending, which investors like, with the international community likes, which will also attract significant amount of investment into Nigeria. I discussed with His Excellency the President about a couple of things. First, of course, is agriculture, to see what we can do to support the government with regard to the Mr. President's vision in agriculture. We discussed about special agro-industrial processing zones, for which we already have about $520 million for Nigeria, and how we are going to make sure that that project actually gets accelerated to give quick wins to the president.
President Bola Tinubu will not return to the country on Saturday as earlier scheduled, but will be staying in London, United Kingdom instant, for a short private visit. A statement signed by Dele Alake, his special advisor on special duties, communication and strategy, announced this on Saturday. Alake said the president will be back in the country in time for the upcoming Eid al-Kabir festival. While in France, Alake said President Tinubu had an outstanding participation in the summit for a new global financing pact hosted by French President Emmanuel Macron. The presidential spokesman said aside his participation at the event, President Tinubu also held high-profile sideline meetings with fellow heads of state and government, global business leaders and chief executives of leading multilateral and development finance institutions from around the world. The statement added that the summit afforded the president the opportunity of projecting on a global stage his advocacy for widening the fiscal space, economic justice for Africa as the world accelerates the pace of energy transition, and urgency of addressing the pressing issues of poverty and climate change. Another batch of Nigerians has arrived at the Nnamdi Azikiwe International Airport, Abuja, from Sudan. A total of 125 evacuees, including 22 children, landed aboard a Taco airline Boeing 737 from Port Sudan by 5 p.m. Nigerian time. On hand to receive them were officials of the National Management Agency, NEMA, the National Commission for Refugees, Migrants and Internally Displaced Persons, the Ministry of Foreign Affairs, and the Nigerians in Diaspora Commission, NIGCOM. At the time of this report, the evacuees were being processed into the country by officials of the Nigeria Immigration Service using their passports and emergency travel certificates, ETCS. This is the first set of evacuees since President Bola Tinubu took office on May 29. You are watching News Hour on Trust TV. We'll be right back after this short break. Welcome back. And in business news, financial institutions have been mandated by the Central Bank of Nigeria to obtain the social media handles of customers for the purpose of identification. It also asks financial institutions to obtain email addresses, telephone numbers, and residential addresses, among other things. From customers, this is contained in the new CBN customer due diligence regulations aimed at further strengthening the identification process in the banking system. The Apex Bank published the Central Bank of Nigeria Customer Due Diligence Regulations 2023 document on its website on Friday. According to the CBN, the new regulation was designed to provide additional customer due diligence measures for financial institutions under its regulatory purview. Let's now join Chiamaka Mwafo for Business News Update.
Nigeria's total public debt for the period ending March 31st, 2023 has risen to 49.85 trillion naira from 46.25 trillion naira as of December 21st, 2022. This was disclosed in a statement by the Debt Management Office, DMO, which added that the recently securitized Ways and Means loans of 22.719 trillion naira would be included as FG domestic debt from June 2023. This comes as the recent monetary policy by the Tinubu administration has seen the naira maintain a peg of 765 to 717 naira, calling for review of public debt. The Nigerian National Assembly approved the securitization of Ways and Means loans of 22.7 billion naira. The securitized debt will have a tenure of 40 years with a moratorium on principal repayment of 3 years at an interest rate of 9% and is expected to improve debt transparency, reduce debt service costs, and help reduce the budget deficit. The Nigerian Customs Service (NCS) says the federal government has not lifted the ban on vehicle importation through Seme border. Reports had posited that the border was now open to vehicle importation. Hussein Abdullahi, Customs Public Relations Officer, Seme Area Command, clarified the situation in an interview on Saturday. Abdullahi said the government has not made a pronouncement on reopening the border. He, however, acknowledged that a proposal was reached by some freight forwarders to the federal government following an advice from Ademola Adeguroye, the former Minister of State for Transportation. Former President Muhammadu Buhari had in August 2019 shut all land borders as part of efforts to curtail smuggling and boost local production of rice. However, on December 6, 2020, Buhari ordered the immediate reopening of all land borders, including Seme in Lagos. And finally, in stocks, a total turnover of 3.369 billion shares worth 41.986 billion naira in 39,764 deals was traded this week by investors on the floor of the exchange. The financial services industry, measured by volume-led activity chart, the oil and gas industry followed in second place, while in third place was occupied by the conglomerates industry. The NGX All-Share Index and market capitalization appreciated by 0.34% to close the week at 59,206.63 and 32.237 trillion naira respectively. 62 equities appreciated in price during the week, with 35 depreciated in price, while 59 equities remained unchanged. And that's it on Business News. I am Chiamaka Nwafo.
And away from Nigeria, Sierra Leoneans are awaiting general election results following a tense campaign marred by violence. There was a high turnout, with the voters telling the BBC the process was smooth despite ballots opening late in many areas. There had been concerns about potential clashes in the run-off to the vote. Supporters of both main parties have been accused of attacking opponents. Accusations of election irregularities were also being thrown on Saturday after the leaders of the opposition alleged ballot stopping and voter suppression in some parts of the country. However, the electoral body had insisted in a press conference earlier this week that they had mechanisms in place to ensure a fair vote. The election is taking place against the background of a troubled economy, the rising cost of living, and concerns about national unity. And now finally on sports news. Taraba State Governor Abu Kefas on Saturday staged a 1-kilometer fitness walk in Jalingo to commemorate the 2023 Olympic Day. The governor noted after the exercise that the idea was to reverse the spirit of sports in Taraba, engage the youth and harness the potential in them for more development. The report.
Governor Kefas also informed that all sporting activities in the state would be revived and facilities would be renovated.
We are going to harness all the potentials in Taraba State for sports. Our youth will be fully engaged. We are going to resurrect what is dying inside of them. We will create all the necessary opportunity for them to compete with other people all over the world.
Reacting, the Speaker of the State House of Assembly, John Kizito Bonzena, and the Secretary to the State Government, GT Kataps, said the exercise was a proof that a new Taraba of greatness was going to be established.
That's a great hope for Taraba youth. Sport is coming back to Taraba. Let's give him a chance. Let's identify with him. Let's be with him and see how he's going to help in that sector. Sports is not only good to bring us together, it's also good for our personal health.
I'm so excited and elated that the youths are going to be engaged. The potentials we have will be tapped, and I'm so happy that everybody is around to witness this day. So we'll keep the ground heat running. We will encourage His Excellency by engaging the youths, by engaging the Sports Council, by engaging everybody that's interested in sports.
They pledged to support to ensure that Governor Kefas takes Taraba to her days of greatness and boost the citizens' standard of living.
And with that, we have come to the end of the news hour on Trust TV. Do not forget to follow us across all our media platforms and our YouTube live stream. I am Abdurrahman Umar. Thanks for watching and bye for now.
From the Daily Trust News Center, this is the News Hour.